It's Steven Stark. I'm your guest. Welcome to another I Know That Nerd. This week's nerd is the wonderful, fantastic Jinx Lierre. Jinx,
Hi.
Jinx is a good friend of the good friend of the channel, Sanrixian. Sanrixian, say hi to everybody. She's here to help.
Hi.
It's also Sanri's birthday, so make sure they're talking to each other on their banana phones.
Happy birthday, Mallory.
It's my birthday, and this is one of my beautiful birthday presents. Check it out.
I'm all about it. So, Jinx.
Yes.
Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do in the fandom? Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm Jinx Lierre. I am a sex worker and a story editor. I use she or they pronouns. Mallory is my wonderful fandom wife. And I would like to say thank you because I am live from the studio of Westeros. As you can see behind me, if you think this looks familiar, it's because I get to use the sick AV setup from History of Westeros. So shout out to Aziz and Ashaya. Woo! Aziz is literally in the house right now.
Right on. Hi, Aziz.
Of course, they are doing their Valar Reread Us series, and they just wrapped up a stream from that. So perhaps you are joining us after that, in which case, thank you for following up, and hello, everybody. I've appeared in a number of fandom podcasty things since deciding that this is something that I wanted to do with a lot of my time. So I did whose loud ass keyboard is that? Mallory, is that you?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm buying you a different keyboard. But I was on Joe Buckley's Isle of Faces. I've been on podcast Winterfell. I was on the Deuce Rethread podcast, which is Michael Hull's project, and that's a different show, but that was a lot of fun. And so you can look up all of those are on any of your favorite podcatchers. My name is Fairly Unique, JINXLIERRE. So I'm pretty easy to find. Also, Ian Thomas Malone's Estradiol Illusions. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And you can find my Con of Thrones panel that was the Clash of Kinks, I believe is on Watchers on the Walls podcast feed right now. So,
well, that's a pretty long list of recommendations. Everybody go get on it.
Please, you do not have to go get on it. There are so many good fandom things to listen to, but those are all the places that you can find me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jinx Lierre. And I am redesigning my website currently, but you can reach me at jinx@jinxlierre.com.
I think the first time I ever heard the words Jinx Lierre, they were immediately followed by rumored daughter of a woods witch, writer of Irigenia.
Yes. So that would be, I was a dragon rider patron of History of Westeros. And Mallory drew Irigenia, my amazing, beautiful dragon.
Yeah, okay.
And do we have, there she is.
In all her glory.
In all of her glory. This is her when she was a little more grown up in a sick tent. You've got some incense burning and some treasure. And then this is even further along in the dragon life cycle. And she is truly opalescent and deadly. And look at those horn jewels.
I know.
That horn jewelry, girl.
Horn jewelry.
Yes.
Mallory understands me on a deep level, and my obsession with dragons and having my own dragon. And so thank you so much for giving yourself enough credit to like zoom in on all of that.
Oh, right.
It's really beautiful art.
I want to see not only the amethyst eyes, but also the opalescent wings.
Yes. Also, fun story behind that. in case you can't tell, I have something of a lisp. It used to be quite a bit more pronounced, but I have always struggled with some of my favorite words, like amethyst and opalescent. And so when I was like, oh, haha, there's a Patreon level where I not only get a dragon and get to choose the artist who I want to do it. So naturally, I went with Sanrixian, famed dragon drawer, mother of dragons. But I also like wanted to make Aziz pronounce things that I have a hard time pronouncing. So yeah, I'm so happy with how she came out. I grew up being obsessed with dragons. There's a Graham Base book called The Discovery of Dragons that I had as a child that has actually I thought of it while watching season 8 because the shot of the dragons above the clouds in the moonlight, there's a shot of 2 dragons with a moon in the center of it. That's from Discovery of Dragons that I've always, and they're like both like pale albino, very, very pretty. So this has always been, I've always been in love with dragons and fantasy and swords and sorcery. And
I mean, imagine that, a big nerd in love with dragons.
Yeah. Also, in case anybody hasn't noticed, I'm wearing a Sanrixian original. She actually cut this up for me while she was waiting at the airport because her flight to Nashville had been delayed.
Hand altered by the artist herself.
Very special.
Indeed. Indeed.
So, Sandry, there was a question you wanted to lead off with. So why don't you?
Let me get to that there. I've got my windows everywhere. Sorry.
I've got my windows everywhere. I'm looking in all the wrong places.
What is
looking for chats in all of the wrong places.
I'll make stream go. So if you guys hadn't figured out, me and Jinx just spent some good quality con time together bonding. And one thing I forgot to ask her was, if you could be a fantasy heroine, who would you be? Or what class would you be? Or what kind of fantasy warrior being would you be? And this has artistic intentions behind it.
It does. And also now I don't remember why I didn't immediately say a dragon. I didn't, but you already drew me a dragon. So that's okay. I'm sorry. I keep looking every which way. There are, if counting Aziz's, there are 6 screens in front of me, 3 of which I have control over. And I'm trying to figure out the least awkward way for me to figure out what is going on screen, and also pay attention to the chat, which I don't know that I'm going to be able to do. So
yeah, I'm just telling you now, the chat is really hard to keep up with.
Okay, well, I'm just going to tell the chat now that I love you, beautiful people, and I'm sorry.
I will pull any questions. So if you have any questions, just flag me, and I'll pull them for you.
That's great. That would be perfect.
Do you have the chat open on the StreamYard window? It's on the side.
Is that what? Yeah, I wish I could drag that over. It's okay. I'm going to stop delaying us. So
You're good.
You're not delaying anything. Sandry, do you have the required information?
I did, and I asked her question, but she did not say anything.
I didn't answer. Oh, okay. So other than a dragon, I have always been obsessed with the Elder Scrolls. So, which is also, I feel like, kind of cheating because I want it to be about dragons. But I always play Dark Elves. And so I feel like a Skyrim or Morrowind. Morrowind, I feel like might have had cooler Dark Elves, but yeah.
You're going old school with that Morrowind reference. I broke Morrowind though. We'll talk.
Morrowind broke me. I was still in school when Morrowind came out. I got it at a yard sale in like a clear crystal disc kind of thing, the way that you used to buy games, and I wish the disc was crystal. Actually, I'm just describing a CD for children listening, by which I mean, please, children, don't listen to this. This is an adults discussion where I'm probably gonna swear. Please. But yeah, I started playing this game and my mom had to lock it away from me in a petty cash box because I was failing like math Not like math. I was failing math.
So children, when you find the crystal disc at the yard sale and the wizard tells you to go on the quest of Morrowind, say no.
No, it's cursed. Now, yeah, Morrowind was like the first game I remember going, oh, this is what like computer or RPGs can be. You know?
Yes.
And of course, then came Oblivion, and then came Skyrim, which Skyrim is still worth playing today.
Elder Scrolls Forever, honestly. I met somebody last night who has an Alduin tattoo on her back, and
Oh, wow.
I was like, that is an excellent life decision. Because I always kind of wanted to get the actual like Skyrim logo that you think of. Like, I kind of wanted that, but then it's the Imperials, and fuck the Imperials. So, yeah.
Fun fact, I'm an Orsimer all the way.
An Orsimer. Okay. Can you explicate that?
Okay. The orcs.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
The pariah folk.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Don't ask me why, but I love playing an orc in that game, no matter what.
I'm really into Sandry and I were talking about this. I'm really into playing thieves and using illusion a lot.
Oh, okay.
So we're sneaking and we're strafing and we're fortifying our armor with illusion and we're shooting arrows from really far away that are like poisoned and shit.
Yeah. Sneak archer is like everybody goes that route at least once. Because
not once, every time. I stopped counting how many hours I played Skyrim after 300. I was like, I actually don't want to know. I went back to my university in like last fall, and I met with one of my favorite professors who had taught me about Puritans and Puritan. That's what I did like my senior seminar in, was like Puritan poetry and also like very like fire and brimstone kind of speeches. But my professor was like, you know what? One thing I really remember that I respected about you. And I was like, really so ready for the ego inflation. And she was like, you told me once, you sent me an email saying that you would not be coming to class on November 11th, 2011. And then it was because you would be playing a video game called Skyrim. And I was like, I honestly forgot that happened. And she was like, I respected that you told me the truth about that. And I was like, oh no, that was 100% what I was doing.
Yeah.
So. January 17th, 2007, I did not go to class because I was playing Burning Crusade the day it dropped.
Nice. I definitely remember playing Morrowind so fucking seriously that I had like the map that came in the little crystal box, and bringing it out like at lunch and talking with my nerd ass friends like, okay, but have you like gone here? Yeah,
but I literally have a strategy. Like, there's a place where you like at level 2, basically, you can get your first age weapon, and then if you pick up a bunch of other junk, there's a scamp in a town called Caldera who will buy anything, and you can trade your stuff back and forth, and you can be super rich just like that.
Steven.
Stealing, fencing. So I think in a world like without CCTV, playing like a fantasy, like, you know, in some fantasy like parallel universe, I would want to be a jewel thief, and Skyrim lets me live that dream because there's those, especially those gems that you find. What the fuck are they called?
They're called Baron Zaya stones, and they're evil. They are evil.
Because I'm a 100% completion kind of bitch. My soul aches to be the center of this little RPG universe and get all the things and hoard them like a dragon. Yeah. Gotta get all them.
That I get, but like, you can't put them down.
That's true.
So you're just walking around with like pounds of jewels that you can't do anything with.
Well, then you get the house and you put it in the house.
It's
But
the pelican around your neck.
You can't remove a quest item from your
Oh, that's right. That's true.
Anyway, we're really going off on this game. Skyrim is great for those of you.
I love the Elder Scrolls. I cannot wait for another single player game. I'm not good enough at video games to play MMORPGs.
Yeah.
So like I don't have the time for it. I don't have the processing power. I just want to be able to play Skyrim type things, but not in Skyrim. I think they should do the next one in like the moving cities of the wood elves.
That'd be amazing.
There's already some news for the next one. Oh, by the way, love the flower crown. You can, yeah.
This is from Mallory. This was Mallory's birthday crown.
That's my birthday crown.
from Dragon Con. This was supposed to be part of cosplay, and then we were exhausted because Dragon Con is fucking exhausting.
No doubt.
And we were like, hey, do you want to wear normal clothes?
Yeah. So cosplay's not happening today. No.
We woke up and we laughed. No, that's not true. We woke up, we fell back asleep.
Yeah.
We woke up and we were like, do you want to cosplay? And we're like,
No.
That's not happening today.
I do not.
By the way, for the record, the next Elder Scroll game is in development, but it's not in Valenwood. It's in Hammerfell.
Break our hearts, Steven.
Well, but you're going to get Redguards and Bretons and all of them.
I think it's time for justice for the facial character design of Redguard. So,
you are correct.
Yeah. Also, let me not chew ice directly into the microphone. If anybody's wondering, what I'm drinking is coffee, an absurd coffee concoction. It's mostly just like coffee and almond milk. I drink that shit all the time and live on it. And
3 cartons.
Mallory attests to that. So, all right. Oh, yay! Mallory, do you have any flower crowns?
Yeah, please hold.
Please hold. Okay.
He's holding.
Steven, is there anything that that you want to ask while Mallory is getting flower crown? Oh, she's so fast.
Wow, that was like super fast.
I have 3 and I have 1 in my room.
The one you're wearing, Jinx, really matches your hair very well too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love having the short pink hair. I liked having long pink hair, but it got to be a lot to deal with. I liked having a shaved head, but it's actually like an absurd amount of maintenance, I figured out.
Yeah, to keep it short.
Mm-hmm. And then I just, I like the pink. It feels cute.
Well,
and,
it's cute.
Yeah. Is my flower crown on my headphones straight?
You see it?
Perfect.
There we go. It's on my head.
There we are.
So, Jinx, you play any D&D?
So I have funny story about the one time that I was this is very selfish to make you do stuff on your birthday, but are you going to draw me? I need it.
I'm drawing it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to fix my camera.
Okay. I was just really excited.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you want to put it on stream?
I wish I could reach out and touch you.
That's
oh my god, is that me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
this is what I started with.
Slamming. Oh my god. Slamming.
Okay.
Slamming bod. Sorry, I was distracted by how hot this elf like basic mannequin is. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a good start, Sanri.
Thank you. I'm doing my best.
Oh wait, before I want to at some point I just want to make sure that the people, the audience at home get to see our cosplay because it's really
I can do that.
She's got pictures.
Here we go.
We've got pictures. So what I was about to say is that my the one time that I got pretty serious about playing D&D, I drew up a character sheet and I was gonna play with in college. We all have friends in college that we don't end up being friends with later in college or outside of our lives ever, or maybe just when we're younger, we make decisions about the people that we hang out with. I used to hang out with a bunch of punk bros.
Okay.
And I wanted to play D&D with them so badly, and I didn't want to play D&D with them badly enough that I was willing to change my idea for a character, which was mostly like a rape revenge elf who cut off dicks.
Okay.
And they were less, oh god.
I love her. Hi, Kyle.
This is my Canadian brother,
Hold on,
Kyle,
let's,
better known as Azora Hype.
I'm just
Oh,
going.
hold on. Let's
Everyone. Oh, Mallory, happy friggin' birthday! I love you.
how you doing, Kyle?
I would kiss
Camera's
you.
here.
I would kiss you on the lips, Steven.
Oh
You're
my
looking
god, get out of my stream.
I love you, Canadian brother.
I'm considering it.
Steven has accepted your proposition, and Mallory sends her love. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
So yeah, I have a strong soft spot in my heart for rape revenge films. And there's actually a podcast that I promote unabashedly called Girls Guts Giallo, that I did not warn anybody I was going to say, but it's GIALLO, which is like a film term, but it is covering films and like horror and camp and the grotesque and the feminine. And I am absolutely obsessed with it. Full disclosure, the host is the most wonderful lesbian vampire horror hostess in the world, and maybe my ex-girlfriend. But I I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is a newer podcast, but if you're into cinema, I highly recommend it. And she talks a lot about that. And so that was something that I was like very into at the time, is like very like girl with the dragon tattoo. And I was like, I want to play this. And they were like, no. So I never played. Ooh, I took out my headphones. I never played D&D. Hold on.
Yeah.
I can't find the hole. Somebody make the joke. Somebody make the.
You're welcome.
Somebody say that's what she said.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, go ahead.
I got it.
Are you going to beat everyone to it?
Oh, I said it first.
No.
I definitely said that's what she said immediately after it happened, because I am Michael Scott in more ways than I want to admit.
Okay.
Welcome back.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Okay. Let's do this. So yes, that's a very long way to say that I never played D&D, but I did get to make cool rape revenge art, and that will be released sometime in the near future, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I do highly recommend D&D. I think you'd love it.
So a thing about D&D that like intersects with a question that I got is that you have to kind of like I get that some people can do like long distance D&D, but I feel like it's mostly, really helpful to like be in the same place, which I rarely am. And I'm looking for the question, because I know somebody asked, Nessie, One Questing Beast, wanted to know about like where I grew up, and so it says, I'd like to know about where she grew up. I'm stealing your job, actually. Does somebody
look, I learned a little while ago that when you get something in your head, I just need to get the hell out of the way,
because I'll forget about it and just drop the topic and start talking about something else is really what's up. But I'd like to know I'd like to know about where she grew up. She travels a lot. Does she have a city she considers her home base? So I was born outside of Philadelphia, and I have not really been one place consistently my whole life. Like I have family in that area, but my mom took a VW pop-up camper bus and drove to Alaska and lived there for a couple of years in a series of cabins, that some of which had power and water and some of which didn't. And so that was like part of my life, was going back and forth constantly between my parents. So I wouldn't really be anywhere for longer than part of the school year. and then I would spend the summer with the other parent. So
Wow.
that was in Alaska and Maine and Pennsylvania. So I've just done like a lot. It's very normal for me to be like a rolling stone.
Right. You're very nomadic, sounds like.
Yeah. So I'm in the process of trying to move because I'm tired. I feel like butter spread over too much bread. Too
Too little butter spread over too much bread.
Yeah.
Damn Ganji.
Sanri was like, I really admire how you keep everything packed up, and I have these little like collapsible boxes that I keep things organized in, and people will sometimes be like, wow, you're so organized. I'm like, thank you. My life falls apart because I live out of suitcases if I don't have stuff like this. And I still lose things sometimes, but we're all just doing our best. I left an iPad cable in Kyle's Airbnb.
I don't want to talk about the things I left there.
So yeah, that's my kind of long-winded answer to that.
So I guess that my follow-on question for that then is like you don't really have a spot that's home base, especially, but like you also didn't go to the same school year after year after year. It sounds like.
When I was growing up, no, I went to 2 different elementary schools. I went to 1 middle school. I went to 2 different high schools. So, and then I went to 1 college though. I feel like that was the important one to stick with. Just because I don't know that I ever would have like actually made it back to school. It's hard to stay in school. It's hard to get any kind of certification. Props on everyone who has any kind of like degree, technical certification, any kind of classes, and also props on people who have learned how to do stuff entirely on their own, because that is hella respectable.
It's one of those things where when I do my own mentoring for like people in my field, and it's really important, I feel like in a field like mine that's like art, like you got to do one-on-one mentorship. So I'm constantly like trying to help the new babies and reach out to them and stuff, but you do it yourself. You can do that. But I encourage self-learning so much.
Yeah. I mean, everybody learns differently. And if I had the opportunity to go back and do it again, would I go to college? I don't know that I would. Like, I have a lot of student debt as a result of that. But the thing that I learned that was most important was actually like direct skill training. So
Right.
I have an English degree. I have a gender and sexuality studies degree. Neither of those would really mean jack shit if I didn't also learn how to be a writing tutor while I was there. So I joined a program my first year, and then I took classes continuously, and you have to like log hours that you're working with people and listen to yourself. You have to do a tutoring session, listen to yourself do it, reflect on it. Talk with the writing director, talk with other tutors, and it's like a whole process that goes on for years until you, if you choose, get to a point where by the time I was a senior, I was working directly with professors, helping ensure that the way that assignments are designed is clear, that students are understanding what is expected of them. So more of like a TA position.
So is this like creative writing you're doing?
No. So, well, when I was working in college, it was everything that people wanted to bring in. So if you had creative writing, we took creative writing. If you were working on a shorter assignment, if you were working on a thesis,
right.
We had a writing partners program, which I really like working with somebody consistently. And that is, I would say, what prepared me more for being an editor, is meeting with the same person week after week and saying, okay, how do we work on time management? How do we work on an outline? How do we work on acquiring resources, utilizing resources? Oh my God, if you're in college, I don't know why I can't stop singing, but I'm just going to go with it. If you're
it's quite all right. You're not bothering me at all.
If you're in college, go to your library, find out if you have a writing center. Often those resources are available to you for free. There are so many people. There's a reason why. I mean, there's a billion reasons why college in the US is so expensive, and most of them are absurd, but some of them are small budgetary tracks that keep important people employed, like librarians and writing tutors. And if you actually use those services, then they will keep existing. So when you get to work with somebody on a regular basis, you can help build confidence in their writing. Almost everybody walks into a session being like, I don't know how to write. Every word I've ever written is shameful, and I never want to revise because it's too painful to look at things again. Which I definitely used to feel that way. Learning how to be a better tutor and editor helped me be a good writer, because you learn that so much of writing is about preparation and revision. And I obviously am biased as an editor, but I love revision. And I love going back, reflecting on what you have so far, and imagining ways that it can be even better, because that's all it really is. People think it's just constant copy editing, but it's like believing in your writing enough that you can see ways that you can improve on it.
Speaking of like,
what a great answer, by
questioning your writing, how did you get involved in or come to edit the masterpiece of the time, or whatever Jeff says?
Oh God, the things that Jeff says. So I'm the biggest project that I have ever taken on, that I am currently working on, is The Cautioner's Tale, which is a novel that was written by Jeff Hartline, better known as Brendan Beefish. And if we could just take a quick second to get in. I can't see the chat, but I'm relying on you. Just a quick boo, Beefish. So he is my mortal American nemesis, because I do of course have a British nemesis, which would be Robert from In Deep Geek. But that's another story. But how did I go from being Jeff's nemesis to his editor? Well, I never stopped being his nemesis. I gotta open up my little, I'm sorry, Mallory, can you pronounce this for the audience?
Little crud boy? Is that what you wanted?
I'm a Texan. It looks like La Croix to me.
LaCroix. LaCroix, if you want to be technical. LaCroix.
La Croix.
Close. Little crud boy.
I know a lesbian in Montana whose dad calls it LaCroix. And
that's not close.
I honestly really like it though, especially because I'm wearing my three-eyed. I guess it's not. It is a three-eyed. It's a three-headed Night's Watch raven. Anyway, buy your shirt, sanrixian.com.
Thank you.
What the fuck was I talking about?
Little crud boy.
You were talking about how you got involved in editing.
Boo Beefish.
Beefish.
I'm just imagining, instead of like an applause, like a light up applause, just like
says,
boo. Yeah, so
like that.
So boo. Yeah, exactly.
Boo.
So I'm a personage on Twitteros, and it is therefore impossible to not encounter Beefish. And at first I was like, wow, I really hate this man. And then I was like, wow, this man might not actually be this person.
Right. I think he kind of fooled me at first too.
He gets a lot of people.
Beefish is an enigma wrapped in a puzzle, shrouded in mystery, covered in mayonnaise and flag.
I was gonna wrap him in bacon, but mayonnaise is pretty apt actually.
And I was so curious about whatever the hell was going on there that I was like, all right, I'll give your podcast a listen. I had already met Emmett, better known as Poor Quentin, and he's fantastic. and I was already on his side. But I was like, well, what's up with these notorious soy boys? Perhaps I shall give this a listen. And Not a Cast it gets way too much credit, and I bump it all the time. So I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's great. One of the worst things about being Jeff's editor is that I can't listen to Not a Cast in my free time, because then Jeff is in my head all hours of my waking life.
That's too much.
It's not good for a person, and I know this because, spoiler alert, the Cautioner's Tale makes it pretty clear. So I think that working with him happened because I was so drawn in by this character joking. Sorry for giving away the game, but drawn in by this character who is like this Twitter persona of toxic masculinity, but talking about it in very clever ways on his actual podcast.
To me, he's the Stephen Colbert of Twitter roast.
That's what I've always thought. He's Stephen Colbert.
Damn! Don't give him that. God, he's gonna, if he hears any of this.
All right, everybody in the chat, don't tell him I said that.
Well, I'll never hear the end of it. But but yeah, I was like, okay, it is satire. It is, so yeah. I finally understood enough to be like, okay, I'll buy it. I'll give you enough credit to be like, yes, I believe that this is satire. And when I came to understand that one of the things that he wants to do with the Cautioner's Tale is talk about toxic masculinity in language that isn't academic, that isn't clickbaity, that it's just very approachable. It's like, how do you examine a protagonist who is kind of, I'm sorry, a really shitty person, not kind of, but a really shitty person. And what I think it's something that really Sorry. It's one of those times where you like start a sentence and you're like, I have 3 directions I'm going with this, and all the words are coming out at once.
I'd say go for the middle one. Go for the middle one.
Okay, so I think it's something that is a testament to the importance of character arcs. And one of the things that we're working on is what do you want as an audience for this book? And we, I think, both believe that it's a thing that, young people could benefit from thinking about and talking about how men behave in our culture. And I think I might have to bow out too much farther than this, because I don't want to say anything that would misrepresent Jeff's pièce de résistance. But I think elevator speech is one of our kind of big central questions right now. Like, how do you communicate what this book is actually about? Because things happen, like you get I was sitting next to somebody on a plane, and he ended up being an illustrator who had done a lot of the David Tennant Doctor Who graphic novels. And his name is completely escaping me right now, but I ended up getting to talk with him about like, hey, what is publishing been like for you? Why, like, how do you communicate with people about your most important projects? And he asked me what I was working on, and I was like, oh shit, I don't have like a really solid elevator speech for this book. So we're working on that. But I picked it up because it's a challenge, because Jeff, I find fascinating, and because I think that I wanted to push myself, and I ended up signing up for a 80,000 word manuscript that is dealing with some really heavy shit. And I don't know, that's fun to me.
Well, I would never accuse you of shying away from pretty much anything.
I mean, there's lots of things that I shy away of, and I like to talk myself around. But I think that working on something that pushes my creative limits, but also gets me to communicate across a lot of differences, because in case you can't tell, Jeff and I don't necessarily agree on many things. Even though he isn't quite as flamboyant as some of his antics on Twitter might be, we are still very fundamentally different people. But it's been really cool to learn how to talk with somebody about their baby.
Right. Well, and different though you may be, like, he still has you working on his book as an editor. So clearly he sees some value in having someone else's opinion.
I think that he cares a lot more, perhaps, about other people's opinions than might be obvious. But I've already said too much.
Well, in the immortal words of the great rapper of Kansas City, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. That's the great Tech Nine, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. That's also a Beyonce quote.
Okay.
Is that, I didn't know that was also, I mean, I know who Tech Nine is. I didn't know that he said that as well. I think all artists are sensitive about their shit, and it's a testament to him being willing to engage in stuff in good faith that I started by being like, hey, can I read this? And then I was like, hey, if there's like little like line edits, can I edit it? And he was like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, so I'm just going to leave a couple notes about things. And I think it's been believing in one another's capacity, believing in him as a writer, and that story's potential to be something that's communicating important stuff, but also him being like, hey, you're a story development editor. And I was like, whoa, that's true. And I think that's something that like a lot of women, a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people who might not have grown up having certain aspects of their artistic self supported can relate to. It's really cool when people that you respect tell you that you're doing the thing that you're actually doing, because it's so easy to have that imposter syndrome and tell yourself that you're not actually doing that. It took several years of my friends being like, you're a photographer, and me being like, I'm just a person taking pictures.
Right.
Before I was like, all right, I guess I'll like make an Instagram or something. So, Instagram is an inherently unstable platform, but that's a whole different discussion. So, yeah, B-Fish is a good creative collaborator. He lets me make fun of him a lot, and I appreciate that.
Right on. Jinx, you are turning out to be one of the easiest interviews we've ever done.
Oh, I just talk nonstop.
Hey, we didn't have you on here to sit quietly.
Yeah, can I take a second though to drink some of my
absolutely.
caffeine? Okay.
Oh man. Yeah. We can all take a moment and pause and support the cause of caffeine.
Also, everybody cheers to caffeine. I as much as easy as he has been to work with, and as much as he isn't who he pretends to be sitting on his sky palace, I have to admit, if you could see like anime sweat bubbles like forming on my head as I was talking about that, I'm like, I don't have talking points. I'm off.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to get a bit of a break while we look at what Sanri's been working on.
Let's do that.
Sanri, are you ready to show?
Yeah, you can flip it over.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Oh wow! Now,
I love this.
I'm just a little curious as to what you're saying with your makeup choices here.
Queen.
I mean, you
it's
look badass.
It's so that I can shoot arrows without the sun. Because my eyes are so light.
All right, like I got you, like the football player thing.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I can't see jack shit when I go outside. I have like 5 pairs of sunglasses and multiple on me at all times because they're like my Twilight sunglasses. Not like Twilight the movie, but like Twilight, like, oh, these are my sunglasses for when it's like only kind of light outside. Like yes, these are my real eyes. These are not contacts. I get that question a lot, and part of it means that I can't see shit when it's like really bright outside. So
You do have very bright blue eyes.
They're like White Walker eyes.
beats bacon deserves better. Is that a beefish?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so I think that it's like it's functional corpse paint.
What? Oh, got it.
Right?
It's
like very, very like heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pull some questions from the document if that's okay.
Yes. Oh my God. Please get me talking about something.
Great. Now, one of my there's a young lady called Vanessa Amesti. She always asks the same question, and you kind of wrote a block of text about this. So we're gonna dive into your top 5 theories for Winds of Winter.
Okay. So
can you flip it back to just us, Stephen?
Yes.
Thank you.
I want to give credit to Mallory because she actually put this list together. So I feel like I would actually rather hear Mallory talk about it because, this was one of the questions that I feel a little bit less prepared for.
Are you kidding me? Okay, she says she's less prepared. So I usually will put put all the questions in a document, 1 or 2 pages. Jinx comes through with her responses and stuff and turns it into I think it's 10 pages now.
It's a 10-page document.
10-page document.
The pink is me. The purple is Mallory.
Yep.
So that is why
we didn't even communicate that. That's just what happened.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do want to draw attention to, which is the Kings of Winter, and I don't know whose theory that is. Somebody please credit that. But the a la Aragorn, because I do love Lord of the Rings, and I think that this would be like a really cool parallel. But the idea that the crypts are full of sleeping dead Starks, so that when the others come, the dead Stark army can rise and like fight them in the field, and basically what Aragorn does when he goes to the Pass of the Dead and then gets like all of those ghosts. Also, I feel like that extended scene in and of itself is exactly why you should only ever watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
Hard agree.
There's not enough ghosties in the regular version. Also, I cannot imagine having worked on that CGI and it getting cut.
Yeah.
Because that's a crap ton of money they spent.
Yeah. Also, in case y'all don't know, they're using the same engine, and somebody can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, they're using the same engine for crowds, for fight scenes on Game of Thrones. See, they use that on season 8 of Game of Thrones as they did to develop the scenes for Helm's Deep for Lord of the Rings, the Massive, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is a testament to those movies really, really holding up. But also, obviously, the impact that they have had on cinema, and clearly the stories have an impact on the stories. And so I do think that's a really cool theory. Mallory, do you want to chime in?
You pretty much covered it. That's the basic gist of it.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the gist of the theories, and you weigh in on whether you think that's likely to happen or not.
Okay, that's way better.
Okay, so what do you think about this happening in Bookwise, the one we just talked about, with the Kings of Winter happening?
I think I'm also so glad that we're over the point where we have to be like, well, what's going to happen in the show? What's going to happen in the book?
Yeah.
Wait, there's a show?
There's
Carry on.
So I'm like, how about we talk about another TV show I like? But yeah, I like that. I want there to be unicorn. I'm just going off book because I want to talk about how there's unicorns are going to be real but terrifying goat things. I also want where Skagos, yes. I also personally want Tyrion to suffer a terrible death, but that's just like that's me coming at that. I think that his arc is going to continue to get darker. I don't know that he'll necessarily have to like suffer for that. I worry about.
Do you think his tongue's gonna get cut out?
I think there's just so much foreshadowing about that I feel like it feels, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like George may or may not have made a decision even about that. And so then I'm like, well, why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can attest to him, Vagar's
pale. Yeah. What? Anybody
answered that before?
Yeah.
No. He hasn't. He does not know what color Vagar is. That is the answer.
Yeah.
Aziz and Ashaya had their stream, I think it was like Tuesday or whatever, where they went over like their stories from Ireland, and that's what we're referring to. Basically, the long and the short of it is George was asked Vagar's color again, told his assistants to go scour the notes, and then decided that she was pale. So pale doesn't really mean anything. Pale means like pink. Pale means like gray. Pale means like light green.
So, yeah, but somebody asked about a crazy plot that I would love to see. I believe Melissa Schultz, the pretty pixie. I really want to see disgruntled, rightfully disgruntled brothel workers murder Littlefinger, unionize, and take over King's Landing.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
That's the one thing that I really want. Also, if they can get a dragon, that would be great. Yeah. And Meyer 27 at Stacy 27 said favorite crackpot off the wall ship. So like related, I want Podrick to be in a loving relationship with one of the sex workers from King's Landing, because okay, in case you don't know, this is very strongly my headcanon, is that the reason, everybody's like, oh, how come they gave him his money back? All those sex workers gave Podrick his money back when Tyrion gave him money after the Blackwater, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thanks for saving him at the Blackwater. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea being like, oh, his dick is so big or so great or some shit that he got his money back.
Magic cock, yeah.
So my theory is that he has a beautiful singing voice, as we found out in the night. It was the Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode. And I think that he sang and they tipped him and gave him his money back. Like, he's also, I bet he was cute and nice and respectful and didn't stay over time and like all of those other things, and like was probably good at fucking too. And then they were like, you're awesome. Also, like, you're a hero of the Blackwater. Here is your money back. So that is my theory on what happened with that. And so I think he is a great candidate to be in a just like really sweet relationship with one of the brothel workers in King's Landing post Littlefinger murder.
I love that.
Yes. Are you? Oh, we have a visitor.
Hi, Aziz.
Hey, Aziz, how you doing, buddy?
You gave me this mug. Look at that. Look at this.
Yeah.
Wait, watch. It changes color with temperature.
Whoa.
Look at that. Whoa.
That's pretty cool.
I believe I gave it to you for your birthday 2 years ago.
That's it.
That is all.
Say two.
That has been. Hey, Aziz. Yeah. Can you hand me that thing?
This thing.
Hey, Mallory, talk for a second.
Bring.
Oh, perhaps you can explain the bananas.
So at Count of Thrones, Jinx had one of these that she carried her vapes in, and I liked it so much, and it became such like a, just like a piece, everyone we passed was like, "Oh my god, I love your banana," and Jinx would be like, "Thanks, it has vapes in it," and leave them with no other explanation. So I loved it so much that she did a photo shoot recently with one of her friends, and she brought me the banana so that I can have a banana too.
Yeah.
So we were really cute walking around with our matching bananas, and that's that story. Now I'm
Matching banana vapes.
There's always
Always.
vapes in the banana.
There's always vapes in the banana. Jinx is
Um,
getting into Arrested Development, and luckily she's gotten to that point, so I could make that joke.
Yes. Yeah. So there's always, what is it? There's always money in the banana stand. So we modified that so there's always vapes in the banana. But yeah, I guess probably closer to like a year ago, I started watching Arrested Development. So I've been moving very slowly through that. But I started watching Battlestar Galactica
Ooh.
about a month and a half ago or something like that. And so I'm like halfway through season 2 or I think season 2. So that is amazing. And I was definitely very, very late to that party, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Better late than never.
Yeah. Yeah.
BFG's really good. Now, like, I don't know how it's been long enough since I watched it. I can't remember everything, but like, I really did enjoy that show.
Yeah. If I could have any, like, if I could have somebody who's like a master wardrobe crafter, there's seamstress is the actual word for that. Make like any dress or piece from anything, I think I would probably have to go with Six's red dress from that show. Everything Six wears is iconic.
Yeah.
It's so of the millennium, like it's amazing. But I love, one thing about that show that I love is that right at the beginning they establish like, okay, the Cylons, they can attack computers, and so everything we have here is analog. So they explain why everything looks old school, and then they just run with it for the rest of the show. And I just think that's a really good way to deal with production limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Well, and it's smart storytelling too. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you watch The Expanse?
Ashaya got me into The Expanse.
Yeah, Ashaya got me into The Expanse.
Ashaya is great at proselytizing The Expanse. She definitely sold me on that show. She has an amazing cosplay, like flight suit for it.
Yeah, I'm jealous of it. Like, I want to be a Beltalowda. I would love to like shave the side of my head. I say love to. My hair is long. It would hurt.
Time to grow back if you shave the side of your head. That's
I know.
why I shave my whole head.
I've had the side cut before. It would hurt to do it right now. It would really hurt. But
Ashaya's cosplay has pockets, which I think all my future cosplays need to have pockets.
Yeah.
You know, if you'll remember, I had a cosplay without pockets.
Yeah, I do.
And I wore shorts with it so I could have pockets.
And we made the never nude joke.
Both of you made fun of me mercilessly about that.
About which cosplay?
Where I was wearing a dress and I had shorts underneath and I kept hiking up my skirt to get at my pockets.
That doesn't sound like me.
We called them a never nude.
Okay, that does.
We called them a never nude. I did not understand. Never nude is from Arrested Development.
Yes.
So I think something that was important to mention here is that they were jorts. They were cut off shorts.
No, they're just like jean shorts. They were not cut off.
Okay, I might have respected cutoffs more. We're veering wildly off track from our already not very organized discussion. So there was another question. Like, we're talking about TV. My one true favorite television show of all time is Jeopardy, and I played team trivia in high school, and I never got over it. And I'm really good at Jeopardy, and I love watching it. And I'm obsessed with Jeopardy.
Okay,
it's great. I get really competitive.
I would challenge you. I'm not saying I'd win, but like I'm pretty good at that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. I'm pretty good at that.
I'm sorry. Did you just mention Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy? Like those are anywhere near? No.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
That's
I've started something.
that's fine.
You have Wheel of Fortune is a ridiculous show that requires a much smaller knowledge base. Also, like half the prizes are like vacations and stuff.
Okay,
Like,
I mean the prize is notwithstanding, it does require a different set of mental skills.
it's this is a chess checkers thing. This is like,
Oh my gosh, really?
I feel strongly that Jeopardy.
Well, I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to just. I'm not.
I just love Jeopardy so much.
Well, and I will never say anything bad about Jeopardy.
I got to go to Upright Citizens Brigade does this thing called Better Jeopardy.
Oh man.
That's like I went to the New York one, and it is like Jeopardy but better, as they say, and including things like where they, instead of tagging in, you throw a beanbag at the host. There was a category, it was all space themed. There was a category where aliens came out and asked you questions. There was, and by aliens I mean a man in a wrestling suit with some dealy boppers.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was extremely entertaining. At one point, towards the end of the game, the board just started randomizing all of the values of the questions, and then they were just declining rapidly. So yeah, it was extremely entertaining. If you're a Jeopardy fan, I highly recommend it. I still haven't seen Jeopardy in studio, but I have seen that now. So that was real fun.
So who should replace Alex Trebek?
Who should replace Alex Trebek? That's a great question. I want Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
Yep.
Not Charlie Day. Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
Charlie Kelly.
Charlie Kelly, yes. So I, first of all, have a huge celebrity crush on Charlie Day, but also I think Charlie Kelly would make an excellent host of Jeopardy. And
he wouldn't know any of the answers.
He wouldn't know any of the answers or how to pronounce things.
He would be great.
That's what I'm looking forward to, is somebody who just can't even say the answer out loud.
Yes, yeah. So that I think that he would be great. I think oh my goodness, Aubrey Plaza. I think Aubrey
Okay. She's got a sharp wit.
She does. I think that she would make a great Jeopardy host. I feel like she would just like murder people randomly, or like have them murdered. Like she would be standing there and she would just like fall into a pit of spikes or something. Like
pit of spikes.
Yeah. She would just like say something, and
that shade, man. That shade.
So Jeopardy is great. Also, How It's Made is my favorite television show that is about labor practices and policies. If you don't know, How It's Made is a French-Canadian television show that depicts how things are made.
Yep.
And
I do know that.
It's exactly what it sounds like, and it is fascinating.
Yeah, I think I watched them make crayons on that show before and stuff like that.
I love How It's Made. I also love the differences in how they describe. They're like the employee, the worker, the way that they talk about like the technician, like the way they talk about that. I don't know. As somebody who's interested in labor, I always find stuff like that fascinating. It's like, what's the difference between like a craftsman and an artisan? It's like, well, one of these is a sombrero and one of these is a bicycle seat. And it's like, well, that doesn't really clear it up. But also I love how it's always just wildly different size shit. It'll be like, today on How It's Made: bicycles, toothpicks, computer mice, and attack helicopters.
Right.
What? Like,
at least 2 of those are electronic.
And then some of them are like very creepy. Like you just have to wonder about like the people who put them together. It'll be like, today on How It's Made: dentures.
Oh God, what are they doing?
Okay.
Coffins, porcelain dolls, and piano wire. And you're like,
Excuse. I have questions. Oh, that's great.
So yeah, I love it. I've tried to watch it in. It's funny to listen to it because they film it in English and French Canadian. Well, French,
Right.
but Quebecois. It's funny to listen to it in that one as well. But I think there was a question that I skipped past. There's so many questions that I skipped past.
We're just having fun.
We're just having.
I want to check back in with Sanri's art.
Yeah.
Are we ready to look at it again, Sanri?
Yep.
Here we go.
Whoa. Oh my God. I look awesome.
Fantasy elf princess.
Heck yes. Did we get any new questions that I can answer for the patient people?
In the chat?
Yes.
We can look at the chat for a minute. Okay, we'll give them a minute to catch up. Chat, folks, if you got a question for Jinx, go ahead and drop it in. I'm going to look back at the document and see if one jumps out at me.
BSG is incredible. I don't know what BSG is.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yes, it is. I will say the one thing I don't love about Battlestar Galactica as somebody who's watching through it for the first time is the sizzle reel at the beginning where it shows you major plot points of the episode that you're about to watch because like I'm not watching this on like a TV with like a tuner and a knob. Like you're not about to lose me to like
right.
one commercial. Like I just don't need it.
I don't want the sizzle reel anymore.
I perceive things too rapidly and remember them too well for that to be fun for me.
That can definitely be a ruiner.
Yeah.
While I have my screen up, do you want to show off our cosplay pictures?
Yes.
Okay,
so the first one I have is just you in my shirt in front of some nice flowers.
Yay!
That's not cosplay, that's just a pretty picture.
I like how it's mirror image except for your head.
Oh, it's not 100% mirror. I just did that.
It's really close though.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah. So here's one of Jinx's cool instax we got with a group of Adventure Time cosplayers. I was Marceline and Jinx was Bubblegum, and that's other Bubblegum. And Ice King and Double Bubble, and Finn and Jake the dog. It was a fun one. See if I can get my computer to behave here. And this was Super Adorable Spider-Man with Jinx's Princess Bubblegum cosplay. That was a really good one we got really late at night.
Okay, so I feel like this needs to be explained because I didn't understand what we saw. We turned the corner and we saw this guy dressed as Zap Brannigan legit passed out. It was probably like 4:00 in the morning, so fair. But just like passed out at this chair. And this woman came up behind me, and I didn't realize that she also had a Futurama outfit. So if you can see her sign says "Death by Snoo." So are they Amazonians? Like, what is that planet? I forget that Futurama.
They're from a different planet.
Yeah, so
I don't remember.
Yeah, so she was actually like cosplaying as that, and we like went to get in the picture. I didn't realize that. Like, I feel like I photobombed her really hard. But also, I woke this dude up because I laughed in his face as I was sitting down. And he woke up and immediately made that, like, whatever that face situation.
Woke up and was like, pictures. But he was done. We were just trying to get a low-key picture of Zap Brannigan passed out against the wall. And there was a whole thing going on. Here's in the shade.
I laughed way too hard.
There's the lovely producer, Queen Ashea.
Yeah.
Courtney, Kyle, Quinn.
Quinn. Ideas of Ice and Fire, Quinn.
Who is next week? For those of you that care, you care. Quinn is a guest next week.
Woohoo!
Where are my other ones? Hang on 1 second. I lost the ones I was trying to find.
I see the lovely Courtney in there and Kyle in the background.
Shout out to Courtney and Kyle.
They were awesome.
I got to meet Courtney at Con of Thrones. I want to say thank you to Sue the Fury for inviting me. I got to be on 2 panels, and that was really, really cool. One of them, the Clash of Kinks one, which is also available via the Watchers podcast. I don't know if the sexual empowerment one is going to get posted. I know the vocals were not. I talk directly into microphones like a jaded comic. So I just hold them up like in my face like this. And so you could definitely hear me and not so much hear some of the other people.
Mm,
So I perhaps we can edit that or something. But
perhaps so.
perhaps.
Also,
Also, I got to meet Kim Renfro. You should definitely pre-order her book, The Unofficial Guide to Game of Thrones, because that's coming out pretty soon.
pretty soon.
Yeah,
I just
and
saw Sue was
really
in the
lovely.
chat not long ago,
She
actually.
was what?
Sue was just in the chat a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Sue is great. I'm so grateful to her. Thank you for inviting me to the con, and it was a really, really wonderful experience. So definitely gonna come back next year.
For sure.
That's where I met you for the first time face to face. Jinx was at the con. It was at Con of Thrones.
It was, yeah. It was the same night that I met Mallory, I think. And because Mallory and I have known each other for a while now, and she actually did my my business cards, which I thought I brought one up, but I don't think I did. So she and I have worked together on stuff, but we had not met in person. So we got to finally meet, and that was really wonderful.
It was wonderful. It was a great night.
Yeah. But Steven and I, we got to meet. We were at a bar. Somebody from Nashville came up to me and said, I don't mean to offend your husband, and pointed at you. And I was like, not my husband. So we got to talk that night, and then we hung out while you were in your Liana cosplay.
Yep.
We went to a party at a VFW outside of
To
Nashville.
be fair, we didn't actually go to the party.
Oh, I was in the party.
Yeah, I was in the party as well.
Okay, I never made it that far. I got there after y'all did, and then I literally made it like about 3 steps in the door.
Yeah.
Right back out.
So, yeah, I think that the people who put that party together did some really good work. And apparently that VFW post was able to stay open for a little while longer, which is awesome because there were active duty people who were there at the time, but I didn't know that was going to be the case, and I didn't know how far away from Nashville we were going, so it was a little bit of a surprise for my Saturday night, and we ended up spending some quality time in the parking lot. Steven, you and I, and Bookshelf Stud and Shakes of Thrones, and Maester Mary. And it was a grand old time, and we couldn't get an Uber driver to drive down the quote really creepy road, but we did finally escape, and we went to a different party. And shout out to Tony Teflon for hosting me me and Mallory later in the evening, and also to Will, who is in Nashville and had accommodations for History of Westeros and myself, and had that beautiful location that we ended up at later. So
that was a really nice place. Yeah.
It all ended up okay. We didn't die out in the middle of nowhere. We
I might have heard banjos, but we made it.
Yep. I feel like a banjo would have been much more appropriate to bring to that situation than the outfit that I wore. So yeah, Con of Thrones was a blast. Dragon Con went really well. Mallory and I got to hang out again and cosplay. Mallory, do you have a picture of
I can't find them right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You looked really cute. So yeah, Mallory was Marceline and I was Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time, if you don't know. And we had a wonderful time. It was my 3rd Dragon Con, Mallory's 1st. And I had my panel. You found him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, screen sharing now. Here we go. There you go.
This was our Marceline and Bubblegum cosplay. We looked adorable.
Yay!
There you go.
The legendary Twilight glasses to make it bring Twilight inside. Yeah, we look at. Oh, that was us with our bananas at the Always Sunny party.
Yep. So, yes, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Your parasol, because it is bright as shit in Atlanta.
So bright.
Ooh,
Very hot, very sweaty.
I don't know if you just know this. Sue says she has the audio for the sexual empowerment panel.
Oh, I actually have the audio. I just haven't posted it. So that's amazing. I just don't know if anybody like wants to post. I could probably just like post it to my site. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, we had a fun time. Next year we're gonna do probably this cosplay and another cosplay, and we want Bunny Hutch outfit.
We're gonna have Bunny Hutch outfits.
If you don't know, Bunny Hutch is the Thursday night party that is like Playboy themed at Dragon Con. And so people come as bunnies and hefts and sailor hats and bunny ears. And there was a bunny mech. There was a bunny Cersei. There were actually several bunny Cerseis. But they're all manner of sexy bunnies of all kinds of genders and outfits. And
it was wonderful. A sea of bunnies.
A sea, just bunnies as far as the eye could see. So, yeah, Dragon Con is amazing. It's super overwhelming. It is not at all like Con of Thrones.
Yeah, see, like, it would be my number 3. Like, I have to do Con of Thrones. You know, I've done it 3 years in a row. If I stop going, I'm gonna hate myself.
Yeah.
So, like, but I really like. If I can make 2 next year, Ice and Fire Con has got to be number 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know, if I can strike it rich between now and then, yeah, I'll make Dragon Con next year.
Yeah. Mallory and I already got our registrations for Dragon Con for next year, and I think we are going to be rooming together. So it's gonna be awesome. So because it's a lot of, otherwise you just end up spending a lot of time traveling back and forth. Yeah. So the panel which Mallory came to in solidarity, thank you so much, was hosted by the Electronic Frontiers Forums at Dragon Con, and it was called Sex Workers, Canaries in the Coal Mine, and it concerned SESTA FOSTA, which is the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, which is a misnomer because it's really just an attack on sex workers. So I'm not going to get into that whole law.
There's lots of other resources.
Yeah.
Lots of other resources.
So many. SurvivorsagainstSESTA.org is a really good place to start. SESTA. So FOSTA, SESTA, you can look up things about that. Elizabeth Nolan Brown is an excellent writer who has covered that and can speak to the difference between sex work and sex trafficking, which are totally different. That difference being consent. You might be familiar with this difference from such things as the difference between sex and sexual assault. So it's actually like a pretty straightforward thing, but the government works to define these things loosely so that they can convince hosts, like online hosts, to be too afraid to let us use their services, is the long and short of it. And so we spoke about that. There was another sex worker who was supposed to come. Her name is Sasha Benjamin, and she's Florida based. Unfortunately, because of the hurricane, she wasn't able to make it. But initially they had scheduled a police officer to be on this panel. The year before, they had a similar panel with 0 sex workers on it. So I came to that panel and asked why they didn't have any sex workers on it. And to their credit, they invited me up to speak. So this year they invited me on purpose, but they also invited a cop. And so I wrote a strongly worded letter explaining to the organizers why it's not actually appropriate, why that's not a both sides issue, that cops actually have the microphone whenever they want to talk in whatever ways that serves them about this, and that this was actually, you know, a singular rare opportunity to have sex workers speak. I'm really, really hoping that next year we can just have a whole panel of sex workers. More than 70 people came to that panel, and it filled the room. So it would be really, really great if next year we could have, you know, wider representation in terms of it also not being all white people up on stage. And have more sex workers actually there. My ideal would be if I don't actually talk. So I would love to help find some more folks to do that, hopefully who are Atlanta based. And of course, there's always frustrations and complications with that because a lot of sex workers might not want to speak on camera about their experiences. You know, if we have kids or we work at an institution where our sex work could call our legitimate work into question. We have certifications if we've ever accepted state aid for stuff. Like there's just so many reasons why people might not feel comfortable doing that. So it is a big deal. But the need and the desire to hear sex worker voices is very real. So we're going to keep pushing for that.
Well, and I think you should. We're all humans, you know. Surprise, at the end of the day, I look, I see a sex worker as a human being with all the rights and that should be due, any other human being.
Yeah, and it was really cool because we actually a bunch of sex workers showed up in solidarity, and we got like a cute little Instax together. And I noticed they were like leaving their business cards like everywhere on the floor of Dragon Con. They're like on like little info tables and stuff. I was like, that's good marketing. I work at cons as well. I got to see somebody in my non-editing work capacity while I was there, and that was really wonderful because it is connecting with a fellow nerd, getting to do, I mean, let's be real, a lot of people come to cons to hook up. It's nice to know it's a sure thing.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with that.
So that's a good reason to hire a sex worker. You can know exactly when you're going to get laid and know that it will be to the standards of a quality professional. So I just a quick endorsement for my own blowjobs, but I feel like cons are so much fun because we are all just unabashedly being into the things that we are into.
Right.
And I love people doing that. And I love, even if I'm not familiar with your favorite anime or whatever, like I want to hear you talk about it. So I love getting to hear mix and mingle with other nerds.
That is exactly why I started this channel. I love, you're right. I may not be into the thing you're into, but hearing somebody speak with passion about something you really care about.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Jinx just has this way about her. It's like a kind of like magical spell that she can do, I think, where she senses people out in the crowd or people who are standing by us, and she'll know when somebody needs to be noticed. And we have made so many friends, and made so many people happy just by talking to them. Like our Lyft driver and our first Lyft together at Con of Thrones. I can't remember her name right now, but bless her, she was so sweet. And then Oracle at the Bunny Hutch party.
Yes.
She was so special. She told the whole story for those of you who aren't familiar with the Oracle character from the DC Comics, Batgirl.
Yeah.
So Jinx got to learn that. And it was just, Jinx is just a very, very special person. And she has this wonderful kind of energy around her. And I feel lucky when I get to be next to her.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Kyle is just like Azora hype. He's just like a brother to me, which is that, I love him, and also we drive each other crazy sometimes. And I was at the same night that I met both of you, waiting for Mallory to show up because your flight got delayed, and you had made me the shirt. And I was speaking with Robert from In Deep Geek, and Kyle shows up a little intoxicated.
A little.
Which is appropriate. We're at a bar. We're partying. It's not
the Crying Wolf party.
Whatsoever. So he walks up, and I'm talking to Robert, and he's like, Robert, the thing about Jinx is, listen. And I was like, oh my God.
No.
What am I about to hear? He was like, she is awesome at listening. And when she talks with you, you feel like you're the only person in the world. And I was like, that is the nicest thing that a drunk person has ever said about me. I was so ready to be like, Kyle, get the fuck out of here. And instead I like got down off my little chair and I was like, come give me a hug, because I was really sweet. And to, be totally real, that's exactly how Kyle is.
Yeah, he's just a gentleman.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart and a real good listener. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him on my show eventually.
he's just so popular. Everybody wants a piece
Yeah,
of him.
everybody
well,
wants a piece.
He's a busy guy. I get it.
So but yeah, I love Kyle. I loathe Robert. He is my mortal nemesis, my mortal British nemesis, and I will see him next year at Con of Thrones, where we will have another word search off.
That's what it was.
And I will win. I will just wipe the floor with that man. So yeah, we went to, was it called the Loveless Cafe?
Mhm.
Okay. So and who was our host? I forget the person who organized that. I got
Carol
invited.
Brown.
Yes, thank you to her.
Yep.
I got invited very last minute because I think we needed like a certain number or something, but it meant that I got to come to Kyle and Robert's birthday dinner. And part of it is that it was at this just legendary diner restaurant, I suppose cafe, that's next to a motel. And there's paper placemats, which was, I think, one of the many American things that Robert just found endlessly fascinating. And on the placemats there's like a word search thing. And
For children.
For the those up for a challenge. That's it.
I'm sorry, it was a lot harder than I'm making it sound like it was.
It wasn't that hard, but I and Robert immediately took this much too seriously,
As one should.
As one should. And next year we'll do it under more controlled circumstances.
Stopwatch, official timekeeper. I got you.
Whole thing. Con of Thrones main stage.
Main stage. Stu?
Loser gets their entrails hung in a heart tree.
Actually, it's going to be moderated by Serial Pharrell. And
Stu says that they haven't announced it yet, but they will soon.
I forgot that Sue's in the chat and I keep making these dumb jokes.
Oh, she is a wonderful person. Moment of appreciation for Sue.
Oh my God, yes.
Sue the fucking fury.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed doing that. In all seriousness, he is a truly wonderful person, and his glee at various Americanisms was one of the most heartwarming experiences.
It was so pure.
Yeah. He was fantastic to meet. I gotta agree with you. Like, he had a way. I know we're here to talk about Jinx, but you're talking about Robert, and I gotta agree with you. Like, he had a way of, like, he made you feel like Jinx does, like you were the only person in the room when he was talking to you. Now he had time. He had time for everybody, but when he was talking to you, he was zeroed in, focused in, and he was a lovely human being.
And I do appreciate how he did talk to everybody because he's a big name, but he's also a human being,
Right.
And it's really hard. It's socially exhausting to talk to people all day, but he kept it up and all through the night too, and into the early morning hours as we were witness.
Indeed. Well,
we shut that party down.
Indeed. I blew the horn.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, somebody. Whose horn was that? Oh, yeah, it's Christina's horn.
Lady Triple.
Yeah, she was talking earlier this week about how you are the best at blowing the horn, apparently.
Oh, she is so sweet. Yeah, she is wonderful. And also she is always wearing really fierce makeup. And I very much respect her. Cosplay is really hard. And not to like keep people from doing it. It's just like, even when you're like, oh, like I'll make like a princess bubblegum crown and put a ribbon on my shorts. It's like, oh, suddenly there's 50 decisions involved in this. But she just like always kills it with the cosplay. And I think that she is just like super, super chill person. Actually, let me immediately roll that back. She is not chill at all.
No.
She is maybe the most hype person I have ever met, but she's real sweet.
Good energy, though.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this her horn, I believe is about 115 years old. And I successfully blew it. Shaya told a very cute version of the story that I appreciate. I came on the stream just like maybe 30 seconds after she told that story. And I was like, woohoo, it's me. But yeah, it was really fun and I was good at it. And there were other people who are not as good at it. And that was always just a little bit satisfying. So
yeah, it's always, winning feels good. Winning feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I also got to meet Secrets of the Citadel while I was there, and Gemma, and right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, it's not, I almost said Jenna. I know that's not her name, but I suddenly was doubting myself. But yeah, she and I talked about our shared love of 90s alternative rock, and
Are we about to start busting out with some like Four Non-Blondes and?
We are not going to do that, but okay. we're talking about how much we love Nine Inch Nails, and I said that I went to see them this past December at the Hollywood Bowl, and can definitely Trent Reznor is a man who can still rock. Like that was one of the best like rock and roll shows, like complete with laser Bowie tribute I have seen in like a very long time.
That would be amazing. If you'll excuse me the personal anecdote, I believe my oldest daughter was conceived to Closer. So anyway, all right, we'll move on from that. Henry, let's have a look at the art, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
oh my god, I love how pink my hair is. And then is that Arya's blade, or is it just like
it's just a knife? It's probably got some Arya.
Is it jeweled?
Yes.
Yes.
But it looks like you definitely got the jewel thief thing going on here.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I
got you.
Oh, thank you. I so appreciate it. This is awesome. Yeah, I love also how everything is like decorated, but like inlaid so it wouldn't like jingle as I was trying to be sneak.
Yeah, you got to sneak. You got to think about that stealth gear.
Mm-hmm.
I know about them leathers.
And we're sneaking.
And we're going. And we're sneaking carefully through the dungeon.
Yeah, we need a little like closed eye icon.
Mallory and I got around Dragon Con because we rented a Buick that was more like a boat and a spacecraft at the same time. And
I hated it. I hated the space boat. It was so bad.
And we had to practice some driving techniques, and also just getting around Atlanta is really difficult. So it's which Star Wars is it from? It's when Amidala is giving birth, right?
Yeah, it's when Amidala is giving birth at the end of Star Wars. I believe it's episode 3.
I think that's right.
There's like the labor robot.
And it's just this little thing. And one of my things that I just do randomly is when I'm really stressed out and I'm trying to calm down someone else who's stressed out with me, I go, ooh-ah, ooh-ah.
So I'm just like, okay, we are braking and we're accelerating and we're getting into the 4th lane. Ooh-ah. So, yeah, that's I can drive. I can drive stick. I can drive in snow. But
you can't drive in Atlanta.
Multi-lane highways are never going to not be.
They're horrible. They don't need 8 lanes. Well, I guess they do. It's really busy there.
They do.
There's like 6 to 8.
Probably use some more lanes.
They could, and we had to wait in traffic a couple times because of poor timing. But it was just driving in Atlanta is not for me. That's what I'm gonna say.
I want to answer another one of the Pretty Pixie Melissa Schultz's questions. Which set of minor side characters are your favorite? A bunch of people asked some variation of this. I love Ariane Martel. I love Alyssa Farben. Shout out to Shakes of Thrones for cosplaying her and the amazing meme image that Sanri took of her with the dragon egg. Also Rhaena Targaryen for sure. And it's a favorite. Those are like some favorite characters. Shay, obviously, Roz in the show, Murray, the sex worker who made it all the way through the show. She probably died in King's Landing, but I would like to think that she didn't.
Right.
Because the woman who plays her was an actual sex worker and has been portraying sex workers in the show from season 2, and she made it all the way to season 8. So
happy for her.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
Not many people can make it all the way.
Yeah, let alone like sex workers on a television show where people get murdered all the time.
Right.
Also, Marjorie, also Alayaya and Shataya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answers all.
What?
All good answers.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So I think somebody specifically asked like female characters. Oh, Widow of the Waterfront. I love the Widow of the Waterfront. Nobody ever talks about her. I think she is fascinating. And I think that Jorah is such a scrub, and it's definitely like one of his scrub moments when he just like brings like a really silly gift. I think like gloves. And she's like, meh. But yeah, I like the Widow of the Waterfront a lot. There's also, I've said this before, I'll say it again. There is an unnamed toothless sex worker at the Lazy Eel in White Harbor. And there's this one line that about like whatever the house glop is. And she talks shit on it. And the baker says, you eat them. And she says, somebody says, shut your bloody yap, you eat him. And she responds, I eat all kinds of shit. Don't mean I like it. And I'm not going to try for an accent because I am notoriously bad with accents. I can't discern them. Or
no, she cannot.
I cannot tell the difference between various kinds of accents.
That's crazy. I can tell when somebody's from Dallas versus Houston.
I mean, I can tell if somebody's like from Maine. I can
Okay.
I can tell if somebody has really bad like hoagie mouth, like the like Philly accent. I can't tell the difference between a British and an Australian. That's why Mallory is laughing.
That's funny.
But yeah. So you would think that it would be, let alone Australian and New Zealand. So it's basically, unless you are Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, I can't tell if you're Australian or it's just some former British colony of a different sort.
Did they aren't Flight of the Conchords from New Zealand?
Flight of the Conchords are amazing. I love them. I definitely sang Too Many Dicks on the Dance Floor a number of times during Dragon Con.
I think my favorite one is the one about there's a big long lead in and he's talking about like unicorns and like he's got imaginary kids. It's been a while since I've listened to Flight of the Conchords, but like
I feel like it's been long enough that I can't immediately follow up with that. But yeah, it's Mallory's birthday today, but
yes.
During Dragon Con we wanted to celebrate it because we were actually together. And so there was a night that she was wearing this and I was telling everybody that it was her birthday. And we were partying and having a really good time. And she had used all of her training to get in the middle of a dance circle and dance with a really cute Deadpool. And I don't
know if he's cute. I didn't see his face.
Right.
He was a good dancer. That makes him cute.
He was a really good dancer, and he was a very good dancer, and it was a very special night.
It's a special, beautiful moment. Yeah, we don't have footage of it, but that's okay because it's hard to record beautiful, magical things. Like we also saw a salamander on the back porch.
Yeah.
We only got kind of okay pictures of him. But yeah, Mallory was the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17, except for she's a little bit older than that. And we had such a good time. It was really wonderful to be with you at Dragon Con, and I can't wait for next year.
I had a great time, and we're going to do it again and kill it again next year.
See, this is why, Sanri, I'm so glad you're here. Like, this has been the easiest stream I've ever done. Jinx, you're great. I mean, I could, to kind of quote as one of those people, I could be like, so Jinx, what do you think of blue? And you could just probably run with that.
Blue. Okay, so I feel like I like lighter blues, but I tend towards darker blues. I don't wear navy. Funny story. I own the only black North Remembers shirt that Mallory has ever made because I don't wear navy.
Specifically, I do not wear navy. There was no argument. There was just, I do not wear navy. It's going to have to be black. So I got black.
Navy is fake black for
It's
posers.
fake black.
Fake black for posers.
What exactly are you implying about the shirt that I'm wearing right this moment?
It's
nothing.
Fantastic.
I wouldn't wear it. That's all. That's all.
Okay.
We all have our different styles.
Well, I wouldn't wear the shirt you're wearing.
That's
Probably
okay.
a good choice.
Although I bet it look really cute on me. Anyway.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions from our wonderful audience?
Okay. I asked for questions in the chat earlier and promptly paid attention to everything you were saying and missed anything anybody put in there.
We
So
abandoned them.
we
I'm
did.
so sorry.
My apologies. Actually, let's blame Jinx for being too interesting. So, chat folks, if you've got questions for Jinx, let's go ahead and throw them in. We're
Nessie
getting
wants to
close
know
to
if
the
you
2
have
hour mark.
blue hair.
If I what?
Have blue hair?
If I have blue hair?
If you
Would
would
you?
have it.
So no, I don't think so because it's just like I feel like cooler colors when I go with them end up being really hard. I'm at this point where I've kind of like oriented my entire wardrobe towards like black, gray. I'm wearing like gray thigh highs and heather gray everything, and like light pink. Like I have pink, rose gold, everything. And so when I have other colors, it just gets hard to like match stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody with colored hair can attest to that. It's kind of a commitment.
Yeah, that's I'm when I go green, it's going to be
Are you going green?
I've considered it.
Yeah.
Like I promise you before I die I will have a green mohawk.
Okay.
Why not just do blue and then dye your beard gold and you can be Dario?
I saw a guy at Dragon Con that I thought was cosplaying as Dario and Harris, but I think he just was a guy with a blue beard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
the gold mustache though, man. That's just
so bad.
So bad.
Woohoo.
So bad.
I am going to have to depart in just a couple minutes because the house story of Westeros is we have plans. And also I am very hungry. But I can stick around if there's any further inquiries.
Well, I'm not really seeing anything. Well, says pink suits you. And I agree.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. And I also like wanted to say, Mallory had like a couple of the instax that I had taken for Dragon Con, but I actually have like this many. And I want to quickly show off.
Hold on, I'm going to focus on you real quick so we can get a better look.
That's great.
And who is that?
You know,
I couldn't see it well enough. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. This is like not. Oh, this is who Mallory was talking about earlier. This is a woman who I believe is one of the organizers or involved somehow, and she was dressed up as Oracle. Kind of cut off Batman's ears.
He still looks good.
He was a very handsome Batman. He had a lot of Ben Wyatt energy.
He did. He had good Ben Wyatt energy.
He was extremely supportive. Sexy Mario.
I love Sexy Mario and Sexy Luigi.
Yeah.
Sexy Mario and Luigi were extremely good dancers. This kid dressed as Spider-Man, just kicking it. Tired.
He had a mood.
That was an entire con mood.
Yep.
This was a sexy Velociraptor Tyrannosaurus Rex at the Bunny Hutch party.
I'm down.
Yeah. Got Mr. Poopy Butthole and Sleepy Gary.
Sleepy Gary.
Hype siblings.
in their athleisure,
Right.
In our glorious athleisure.
ready to drop a hot album.
These folks were dressed as the Muppets.
Oh, I'm with it.
The best part is that when I went to take this picture, the guy who was dressed as Animal went, "Woman!"
Like he'd been practicing it all day.
Yeah.
He just mastered it.
Yeah. This was somebody who was the Iron Throne. Like the
Man, that's the thing I love the most about conventions is just cosplay in general.
Yeah, it made me okay, but this is who should have really ended up on the
Oh yes. Hell yes.
Wayne and Garth, Party On Forever.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
And then this is how we all feel after a couple days of con.
Those are wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing waving tube men.
Yeah.
I said it all.
You did.
Wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing tube men. Oh, this was Deadpool.
That was our husband Deadpool for the weekend.
Yep.
That looks like a B-boy Deadpool, or like, you know.
He was an amazing dancer. Yeah, he was fantastic. And then this is a knight who says knee, a witch, and a duck.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So I love Instax. That's what these are. Just like Polaroids, instant photos. And they're so much fun. They're so much fun at cons to like give people. Also there's Jasmine. Nazosaurus. Super cute. And then, I just have to show off. This is the best.
Okay.
Last one.
That's awesome. Who's that?
A mermaid. Just a random mermaid, but she was so beautiful. And she let me take this picture. It took me 4 tries. But it was worth it.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that was my Dragon Con experience. I fully expect to be at Con of Thrones and Dragon Con again next year. And in the meantime, I will be editing Jeff's book. I will be on Twitter and Instagram and on my own site, which is, again, still being redesigned. I just kind of have an under construction page up right now. But I can always be reached at jinx@jinxlierre.com. And I welcome inquiries from other podcasts, other fans, and obviously anybody who wants to take me on a date that you pay for. That's can't just take me out on a date for funsies. Sorry, everyone.
All right. With that, Sandry, I would like to see the art one more time. See where we got to.
I'm gonna have to finish it up later, but we got to color.
You really got into this one. This is not a quick doodle. This is
amazing.
Yeah, this is fantastic, by the way.
This is the D&D character that I never got to be.
There you go.
It's her. She's there for you. Who made her? What's her name?
Oh my goodness. Shit. I'm trying to remember what the name of my last dark elf was. There's so many, like, I feel like dark elf themes are such a thing, such an identifiable thing in the game.
They are.
Yeah. Because they're called Dunmer. That's what it is. Just gonna head over to the UESP real quick, unofficial Elder Scrolls pages.
I got a lesson in those.
Oh my god, Azaril. I like that one. Azaril. That's the first one that stood out to me.
Azaril.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
There you go.
She's cool.
Well,
oh, sharp and shiny.
Bam.
I want to say one more thank you to Mallory for doing this. This is so beautiful, and also happy birthday to her.
It's my birthday.
One more happy birthday to you.
Happy
Sandry.
birthday.
Thanks so much for coming on and joining us.
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you for having me, Stephen.
Jinx, it was a pleasure. I'm so glad that we were able to make the schedules line up.
We were indeed, and thank you again to the Studio of Westeros for letting me borrow all of their equipment, and Ashea for setting me up.
Yeah, eventually I plan on having them on. I just have to, I have to work up the courage. That's the real big time right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're kind of big deals.
They're kind of a
I
big
like
deal,
to tell them that.
They are, and yet humble and
So
sweet
sweet.
and kind.
part of what makes them so great.
Yes, indeed. Well, I really appreciate it, Stephen,
Take
and thanks for having Mallory draw. It made it way easier for me to ramble on, but still feel like there was something else happening that was worth looking at.
There definitely was. Sandry, thanks again. Jinx, thanks again. Everybody, I guess that's it then. We're going to be wrapping up. You know where to find us online. Jinx at Jinx Lierre on Twitter. Sanrixian, that's at Rixian on Twitter. Myself at Real Steven Stark on Twitter. Come back next week. The guest is going to be Quinn from Ideas of Ice and Fire. Really looking forward to having Quinn on. I don't have a banana, so I'll just cheers with my coffee cup.
Cheers.
And until next week, everybody, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next time.
Be
Bye.
excellent.